Revealed. 10 sinister and haunted cases of missing tourists in Alaska's forbidden wilderness. Chilling whispers echo through the mountains of Alaska. Tales of tourists swallowed by the unforgiving wilderness never to be heard from again. In the hushed corners of small-town reality, Lisa, a single mother and determined journalist, walks a fragile line between the mundane and the macabre. As summer approaches, the air thick with anxiety, she feels the shadows drawing closer, stretching over her creaking home and her bright-eyed daughter, Emily. Just a year ago, the town thrived on tourism, but now an insidious dread hangs heavy like the fog that blankets the peaks. The dilapidated lodge where the last tourists vanished stands shrouded in mystery, its walls whispering secrets that fester like an untreated wound. Each day, Lisa's heart races as she passes the looming structure. Graffitied warnings proclaim "stay away," alongside terrified sketches of faces, lost souls perhaps. They say the lodge was built on land cursed by a family that once made pacts with ancient spirits. Beneath her skin, the stories crawl cold and unsettling. Were the locals' loving memories of bustling summers simply a thin veil over a dark truth? And now, with Emily giggling and running free, more distant from her mother than ever before, the warmth of Lisa's protective instincts turns icy. Terror escalates when cryptic messages arrive on her phone. "We're watching you." Her blood runs cold. Friends become strangers overnight as trust erodes, especially towards the local police, once heroes, now shadows of doubt. Panic grips her as she learns about a child gone missing, her laughter swallowed by the wilderness. The soft touch of their neighborhood fades, revealing a grotesque underbelly that twists her heart. Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system, and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Just as frightful, Emily's school trip to the abandoned lodge pulls her deep into this waking nightmare. With her heart pounding, Lisa finds herself following the same overgrown trails that now breathe of dread. Each snap of twigs beneath her feet feels like an omen as she encounters dark remnants of previous tourists. Shoes gnawed by wild animals, fragments of photos stuck in the underbrush, each one a cry for help left behind. Suddenly, a hollow silence envelopes her world, her mind racing to the unfathomable. Emily's laughter replaced by an oppressive quiet that claws at her sanity. As she sinks deeper into the woods, a blood-curdling scream echoes just out of reach. Shadows seem to migrate, leaving the underbrush swaying in their wake. Every groove in tree bark feels alive, a cacophony of whispers urging her onward and yet warning her to retreat. The shadows seethe, a pulse running through the very earth beneath her. But when Lisa discovers an ancient marking on a tree, an emblem of despair, her knees buckle. The truth pierced her, revealing an unspeakable horror simmering beneath the veneer of this tight-knit community. The real terror lies not only in the wilderness that reaches for her daughter, but in the faces of neighbors she once trusted. What secrets are buried beneath their smiles? A shudder runs deep in her bones. Lost in disarray, every step backward feels hopelessly futile for now. The darkness watches, and it knows who it desires. Will she find her daughter, or will this insatiable wilderness extract from her the very light she seeks to protect? Lisa's breath came in ragged gasps as she pressed deeper into the suffocating woods. The markings on the tree loomed in her mind like a malevolent spirit, promising despair. She blinked away the sting of hot tears and forced herself to focus. Emily was out there, somewhere. Each distant rustle of leaves sent her heart racing. Were they whispers? The wind played tricks, a soft voice taunting her. "Mom? Where are you?" It didn't sound like Emily, yet it chilled her to her core. She steeled herself, refusing to yield to the ghosts lurking in the shadows of trees. Stepping carefully over the gnarled roots, Lisa felt the ground shift beneath her, as if the earth itself was unsettled by her presence. A pang of fear twisted in her chest. Was she stepping into a trap? She recalled the frantic search parties formed after the last child disappeared. All bright-eyed hopefuls who too had felt the intoxicating thrill of adventure before faith turned sour. Lisa shivered. Would she too join that sorrowful list if she wasn't careful? The branches overhead twisted grotesquely like fingers seeking to ensnare her. Just then, the shadows shifted again. Sparking a thought in her mind, was there someone, trailing her? Hello? The words slipped from her lips, shaking under her gulping breath. Emily! She heard her own desperation echo back, chased by the hollow silence. Minutes stretched into hours, the wilderness becoming a maze of dread. Dark clouds rolled in, casting shadows that screamed of promise and peril. She glanced around at the collapsing trees, their skeletal forms reaching for her. Every creak, every snap of a branch invaded her thoughts, telling tales of those consumed by the forest. But she couldn't stop. The axiom of finding her daughter, the one thing drowning her in a glimmer of hope, propelled her onward. As time slipped further away, she stumbled into a small clearing where the air seemed to thrum with an unholy energy. Something unnatural was here, something that had witnessed too many things. In the center lay remnants of a campfire, its ashes cold, yet swirling with an energy that felt forbidden. Next to it was a worn teddy bear, dirted and worn, eyes hollow yet hauntingly familiar. A surge of panic rushed through her. Could this have belonged to Emily? She knelt, clutching the bear tightly, her pulse quickening. Had she touched this very toy just hours ago? The timer ticking viciously, as realization hit like a freight train. What if Emily had found this too? Retreating from the clearing, Lisa felt that the forest wasn't just tugging at her, but watching her, waiting. The whispers returned, this time merging into a growl. She spun around, scanning her surroundings, heart thundering against her rib cage, each beat resonating with burgeoning dread. Shadows flitted just out of sight, urging her deeper into their embrace. Then, she heard a laugh, innocent, bright, unmistakably Emily. It bubbled through the darkness like moonlight spilling over the water. Mom! The voice ethereal yet near. Lisa's heart leaped, but it felt like a trap. That laughter, was it real, or a cruel trick played by the shadowy depths? She took a cautious step toward the sound, praying it was her daughter and not a shadow painting her worst nightmares. Yet with each step forward, the woods made a low murmur. Stay away, it hissed, pulling at the seams of her sanity. Would she dare follow the echoes of her daughter, or heed the chilling warnings of a darkened wilderness that craved for her? A thundercloud broke open, spilling rain as she felt the earth shift ominously beneath her, a warning. The shadows danced, a creeping suspicion filling her senses, but in the back of her mind lingered one thought: what if the one thing she was racing to save was the very thing leading her to destruction? Lisa hesitated, heart thumping, as raindrops pelted down like tiny daggers. The laughter faded, mingling with the drumming of the rain, twisted and lost. She could still hear echoes of it, lingering underneath her skin, pulling her deeper into the gloom. What should she do? Stay, or plunge headfirst into the depths of the unknown? Emily! She shouted again, her voice ragged. The name hung in the air, swallowed by the wilderness. The shadows danced around her, stretching and pulling like restless spirits, waiting for a moment of weakness. A shiver crawled down her spine. The ground beneath her suddenly tremored. She stumbled. It felt as if the very earth was rejecting her presence, rolling and writhing like a live creature. Lisa gritted her teeth and moved forward, the pounding rhythm of her heart drowning out all thought. That S, when she saw it, a flash of white in the distance. Was it a hallucination? The stress? The fear? No, it was too vivid. Her breath quickened as she squinted through the rainfall. Emily! She screamed, pushing past the damp underbrush. Closer now, closer to whatever awaited her. The figure seemed to vanish in a blink, leaving only a haunting echo of laughter hanging in the air behind it. She was near, so close she could almost sense her daughter's warmth. But then, another sound erupted, jagged and sharp, slicing through the murky tranquility, a burst of laughter that wasn't Emily's. The timbre was low and mocking, ringing with a sinister familiarity. Lisa froze, terror slamming into her gut like a fist. No, no, she whimpered, backing away instinctively, her foot catching on a root. She tumbled to the damp ground, breath coming out in short gasps as rain drummed relentlessly around her. Run! The voice thundered, now a guttural growl. It echoed within the trees, twisting through the branches like smoke. Lisa could feel the presence now. It crept around her, as tangible as the rain soaking through her clothes. Something darker lingered, lurking just beyond the perimeter of her vision. She could feel eyes on her, hungry eyes, flailing. She struggled to her feet, adrenaline propelling her. Emily! The name felt like a lifeline, but the woods around her pulsed in response. A malignant thrum. The laughter returned, louder and closer. Mom! I'm here. It was like a soft bomb before the storm. A brittle promise laced with something unholy. Lisa's heart soared before plummeting, caught in a whirlpool of hope and dread. As the shadows thickened, a figure appeared at the edge of the clearing. A child? No, taller, obscured by darkness. Lisa's pulse raced again, her mind losing grasp on reality. I can help you find her. It hissed, voice like gravel crushing underfoot. Who are you? She gasped, fear wrapping around her throat. Just a friend, it replied, the words sliding off its tongue like poison. A horrifying grin spread across its face. I know where she is, but there's a price. The rain intensified, each drop becoming heavier, each pulse of the forest throbbing like a heartbeat. She felt trapped and snared, as if the trees had inched closer, their gnarled branches clawing at the air. Lisa's thoughts raced, battling against this new threat. Was it trying to deceive her? Was this another trick? But where was Emily? Please, she pleaded, desperation boiling over. Help me. The creature's eyes flickered, reflecting dim lightning. You must face the truth. Find me at first light, or lose her forever with that. It melted back into the shadows, leaving behind an echo of laughter that twisted through the rain like a taunt. Lisa stood alone, heart pounding, soaked to the bone, as the storm wept around her. She clutched the teddy bear tightly, the familiar texture bringing an ounce of comfort in this nightmare. But as hope wove its fragile thread around her mind, another thought pierced through. What if the truth was more horrific than she could ever imagine? Not knowing whether to scream or run, she felt the air grow heavier with secrets, all leading her to a deeper darkness that craved her very soul. What truth awaited her if she dared to face the dawn? Would it reveal salvation or only more terror? Lisa stood at the edge of the clearing, heartbeat pummeling beneath her breast. The laughter of the dark being had faded into the rain, but the chilling whispers echoed around her, a memory wrapped in malevolence. Her mind raced, thoughts entangled like the roots beneath her feet. Was Emily really out there? Or had this creature manipulated her, using her daughter's name to ensnare her desperate heart? She squeezed the teddy bear, as if it could fortify her against the darkness. Shadows clawed at her ankles, and the wail of the storm felt like a harbinger of doom. A flicker of hesitation washed over her. The creature's words replayed in her mind: find me at first light, or lose her forever. Morning was still far away. She had time, but would it be enough? Wind gusted fiercely, sending a shiver through Lisa. She glanced around, the world shrinking around her. The trees felt alive, their knotted branches reaching toward her, seeming to whisper wicked secrets. The laughter echoed again, now a chorus mixed with her worst fears. Emily! Silence answered, holding no comfort, only more dread. Thoughts spiraled. Should she wait for dawn? Should she search now, venture deeper into the quagmire that had repeatedly robbed her of peace? Panic surged. She couldn't let the morning come without doing something. Turning, she forced herself to tread deeper into the woods. I'll find you, Emily, she vowed, voice strong despite the tremors in her gut. Each step was heavy, weighed down by the dread that coated the night. The forest thickened, pressing in like a dream grown sinister. Droplets clung to the leaves, reflecting glimmers of silver light as they fell. She stumbled across a hollow, and the air thickened with something foul decay, memories gone wrong. A rot that felt alive. Lisa's skin prickled. She could almost see ghostly shapes flitting between tree trunks, shadows that twisted her vision into grotesque figures. Were they watching, waiting? With every moment, dread crushed her courage, but she pushed on. Emily, where are you? The name felt like a plea launched into an abyss that mocked her. And then, as the wind howled like a mournful spirit, she heard a soft voice call back. Mom? It was so faint she thought it might be another trick, a cruel joke played by the entity from before. Emily! Lisa screamed, her voice raw. Help me please, the voice wavered. A golden thread of connection amidst the timber's brutality. Fueled by desperation, Lisa plunged forth, each stride driven by the undying love for her daughter. But the woods twisted, branches reaching to snag her hair, tangling her limbs. The darkness deepened, pulsating like a heartbeat against the silence. Where are you? In that moment, she saw it, a flickering light, distant but beckoning. Could this be real? The sudden surge of hope drove her onwards, banishing her doubts momentarily. The laughter returned, louder, seeming to collide with her moment of hope. You won't make it. She stumbled, the ground shifting beneath her like quicksand, the laughter warping into a choking sound. Desperation clawed at her throat. She sprinted toward the light, pushing through the underbrush, branches scraping painfully against her skin. Emerging into a small clearing, she was met with an eerie sight. Figures danced in the shadows around a flickering bonfire. Children, but their faces were warped, shadows without substance. And at its center, a familiar flash of white stirred from the firelight. Emily? Her voice cracked, but the flame flared, illuminating the figures with ghastly grins. They turned, eyes glinting with malice. Innocence is the price. The creature slithered out from behind the flames, its grin widening. Welcome, Lisa, to the truth. Lisa's breath snagged in her throat, and for the first time, she saw the truth stretched out before her, twisted, horrifying, and far beyond her worst nightmares. What price would she pay for a chance to save Emily? The flickering of the flames echoed through the woods, and she realized it wasn't the flames that danced with the night, but the darkness around her, hungry and alive, waiting for her choice. Could she face that truth, or would it consume everything she loved? Lisa's heart pounded as she surveyed the grotesque scene before her. The warped faces of the children grinned like painted death masks, their eyes reflecting nothing human. She felt the ground pull at her feet, sticky and invasive, as if the forest itself wanted to claim her. Emily! She cried again, her voice trembling against the wind, desperation suffocating her like a thick fog. The creature loomed closer, an insatiable hunger swirling around its unnatural form. Oh dear Lisa, it crooned, you're barely scratching the surface. What you see is only a fraction of the truth. But how deep are you willing to plunge for your little girl? The shadows flickered and twisted, beckoning her into their dreadful embrace. As another gust of wind whipped the flames, Lisa noticed the children circling the fire, each movement slow and deliberate, as if performing some dreadful ritual. Their laughter morphed into a cacophony, drowning out the thunder of the storm. Stop it! Lisa shouted, her voice sounding foreign to her own ears. Where is Emily? Tell me. The creature merely chuckled, a low, rasping sound that echoed through the trees. You're so close, yet so far, it taunted, its grin widening to grotesque proportions. Innocence here has a price, one not easily paid. You have to choose, Lisa, your light for theirs. The flickering bonfire cast shadows that danced like spirits among the trees, their movements fluid, captivating. Lisa felt an overwhelming urge to step closer, to reach out and touch the warmth of the fire. Was that Emily? Could she be there, dancing with the shadows? Emily? Felt like a desperate prayer. But then one of the children lunged forward, a blur of movement, their face twisted in pain, transforming from joy to anguish. It was a child's face, haunted and pleading. Help us! They screamed, their voice rising in pitch, twisted in an echo of agony. Help us to go home. Home, the word whispered through Lisa, resonating in her chest like a twisted melody. Those children weren't free. They were trapped lost souls just like Emily. No, Lisa shouted, the vehemence of her denial erupting from her. I won't let this happen. I'll save her. She surged forward, shaking off the dread that threatened to hold her in place. The laughter morphed into screams, her movement stirring a storm of shadows that clawed at her skin, tearing at her resolve. The creature receded, casting deep shadows that gripped the clearing tighter than the flickering light. She saw the familiar outline of a small figure among the shadows cloaked in white, hair glowing in the dim light. Emily! She cried out, lunging toward the figure. Mom! Help me! Emily's voice cut through the cacophony, but as Lisa stretched her hand out, the ground beneath her shifted violently, a pulsing wave of energy that threatened to swallow her whole. Emily! She was so close, yet the distance felt infinite. Below her feet, the earth roared as a rift opened, dark and hungry. The children's faces twisted in anguish, their cries piercing through Lisa's resolve. With a mix of instinct and terror, she leaped toward the light, reaching for her daughter, but a cold grasp yanked her back. You cannot save her without sacrificing your own light. The creature wrapped its shadowy tendrils around her arm, pulling her closer, closer to the truth, one that promised to swallow her either way. Trembling with fear and desperation, Lisa felt the weight of her choices crashing over her. Could she make it back? Or was she destined to be one with the shadows? In that moment of peril, she grasped the teddy bear tightly, as if it could offer her protection against the insidious darkness. But the laughter filled the air again, a haunting reminder of the stakes involved. Choose wisely, Lisa, the creature hissed ominously. A decision loomed before her, one that could unravel everything, or perhaps lead her to a fate worse than losing Emily. The flames flickered, casting eerie shapes that twisted and turned in the darkness. Time was slipping away. What was the price of innocence, and was she prepared to pay it? As the shadows closed in tighter, Lisa could only think of one miserable truth. Sometimes, the darkest choices lead you down a path from which you can never return. Would she dare take the final step? The darkness whispered its seductive secrets, waiting for her answer. Lisa's hand trembled as she clutched the teddy bear, its worn fabric a fragile connection to the innocence she desperately sought to protect. The shadows convulsed around her, tightening like a noose. Fear clawed at her throat, choking her voice until it came out as a mere whisper. What do I have to do? The creature's eyes gleamed with a malevolence that sent icy tendrils racing down her spine. Ah, sweet Lisa, you must decide what you value most. It crooned, a sickly sweet tone laced with malevolence. Its voice twisted through the air, mingling with the laughter of the ghostly children, as if they were all part of the same sinister chorus. Your light, for their freedom. The laughter morphed into cries, shrill and desperate. The children's faces twisted into expressions of longing mixed with despair. No longer could Lisa ignore the pit in her stomach. It was real, and it was filled with darkness. Emily! The name erupted from her throat, filled with dread and determination. I won't leave you. Then act. Lisa! The creature snarled, its patience fraying as it pulled at her, urging her to make her choice as flames crackled and shifted, illuminating the clearing. She noticed the children's eyes, dark pools of despair. Each one reflected her own fear and desperation. The influence of the shadows wrapped around her like a heavy cloak, whispering promises of warmth if she only stepped closer to their wicked fire. Was that how the others had been drawn in? She hesitated. The thought of sacrificing her own light to save Emily felt like surrendering her very soul. But seeing her daughter's form cocooned in the shadows urged her forward. I won't abandon them. Suddenly, one of the children reached out, their bony fingers clawing at the shifting air between them. Help us, please. We want to go home. The words echoed in the hollow of her chest, igniting her resolve. We're just like her. That revelation struck her like a sudden gust of wind. Were they all seeking life outside the suffocating gloom? All they wanted was to be free. Emily! The urgency of her voice escalated, demanding to be heard over the chaos. Can you hear me? I'm right here, Mom. The voice was clearer now, the desperation that dripped from Emily's words striking Lisa's heart like a hammer against a nail. The ground quaked beneath her, a reminder of the rift that threatened to swallow her whole. The creature loomed above, its presence overpowering. "Choose, Lisa," it shouted, its voice turning shrill. The shadows pulsated, a living entity eager to seize her and crush her defiance. "Dare to give what you prize most." Breath quickening, the options blurring in her mind. What was one life her life for the lives of many? The choice felt too heavy to carry. She could not abandon these children, trapped in this purgatory like Emily. But how far was she willing to go? As the flames danced higher, flickering almost in anticipation, she suddenly felt the bear grow warm in her grasp. A soft glow emanated from it, illuminating the darkness just enough to show her the children's faces again etched with terror, yet somehow oddly hopeful. "Mom, please!" The shadows shrieked, a whirlwind of anger and malice, as Emily's voice rang through the chaos like a silver bell. "Mom, I need you." In a single moment, Lisa made her choice. "I'll do it. I will pay the price. Just let her go." But before the creature could respond, the ground unleashed another tremor, sending her sprawling forward, closer to the fire, the laughter crescendoing into a monstrous roar that threatened to engulf her fully. As tendrils of darkness coiled around her, something unexpected occurred. A light blazed brightly within her, the light she never knew she had. It surged forth, pushing back against the shadows, igniting a path toward Emily. But was it enough? The creature's fury tore through the air. "You've sealed your fate, Lisa." Lisa's heart raced, the warmth growing within her fighting against the cold grasp of despair. The truth she had chosen felt as fragile as it was sacred. She had made her decision, but now it seemed the battle had only just begun. The cost of innocence was yet to be revealed, and darkness loomed closer, hungry for her choice. A price was still to be paid. What awaited her on the other side of the fire? Would her sacrifice ignite a brighter path or rend her soul into shadows forever? The light surged around Lisa in a blistering wave, illuminating the twisted faces of the children and pushing back the shadows that writhed like serpents. Yet, the creature's laughter echoed despite the brilliance, bitter and mocking. "You believe that flicker can save you? It is nothing but a candle against a tempest." As the tension thickened, Lisa felt the heat of the fire drawing her in, wrapping around her like an embrace she could not escape. Her breath quickened, the flames casting frantic shadows on her skin, dancing closer with each pulse of the light. She squeezed the teddy bear tighter, feeling its material stretch and compress, as if it had a heartbeat of its own. "Mom, please!" Emily screamed again, her voice laced with desperation that curdled the air. The shadows tightened their grip around Lisa, a visceral reminder of just how fragile her decision felt. Each heartbeat thrummed in her ears as she fought against the despair threatening to pull her down, echoing in the depths of her being. "Release her," Lisa shouted, her voice a rasp, raw with anger and fear. But the shadows only pulsed with hungry glee, their laughter melding with whimpers and cries from the children echoing in her mind. Each sound ignited a sense of purpose that she had to fight for them, all of them. "Everything has a price, Lisa." The creature coiled closer, its grotesque face lit momentarily by the flickering fire, revealing rows of jagged teeth, stained and dripping. "You think mere light can outshine my power?" With a fierce determination, Lisa felt the warmth of the teddy bear radiate through her body. The light within surged outward, searing away the tendrils that grasped at her limbs. In that moment she understood. The bear had been her shield, a reminder of innocence and love, but it was her own spirit that ignited the flame. "Emily!" she shouted again, locking eyes with her daughter. Emily's form was clearer now, a shimmering silhouette trapped between worlds. "I'm coming to get you." Without thinking, Lisa stepped closer to the fire, pain surging through her flesh as the flames kissed her skin. The shadows recoiled, screeching in agony. She could feel the power of her decision charging through every nerve, igniting her courage and casting the darkness into retreat. You cannot have us. As the creature flailed, caught between rage and surprise, the flames swelled, consuming the space around them, transforming the clearing into a landscape of light. The children's cries faded, melting into echoes of laughter as they felt the heat of hope wrap around them. But then the creature shrieked, a sound so filled with fury it shattered the moment. You think you can resist forever? The darkness you fight is part of you. Tendrils writhed back, creeping toward her, wrapping around her legs, pulling her into the depth of despair it thrived upon. Stop! Lisa screamed, throwing her arms wide, letting the light burst forth from her. The flames cried out, swirling toward the creature, coiling around it with a life of their own. A flash, a moment where light and shadow clashed violently. Just as swiftly, everything collapsed into silence. Panting, Lisa was thrust against the ground, a sudden stillness enveloping her, swirling with a vibrant glow. Where am I? She murmured, the remnants of heat clinging to her like shrouds. In the distance, she heard the whimpering of children. But the shadows didn't disperse. Instead, they circled closer, growing heavier, coalescing into shapes that began to form familiar faces. Faces she didn't recognize at first, but as they drew nearer, the chilling terror consumed her. Was it her fault? What had she done? Then she felt a cold breath against her neck. You think you've won? No, Lisa. Your journey is far from over. Fear twisted in her gut, clenching around her heart. The price she paid loomed larger than she ever imagined. As the darkness swirled around her again, she glimpsed a new light through the chaos, a flicker amongst the void. And then she heard it, soft at first, a whisper that echoed from the shadows. Help us. What were the whispers begging for? Was her fight merely the beginning? Would they all be brought back into the folds of darkness? Or would she find a way to turn away the shadows once and for all? The ground felt cold beneath Lisa's trembling fingers as she fought to push herself up. A haze of dread wrapped around her like fog, thickening the shadows that still hovered like predators waiting for the right moment to pounce. The whispers became louder, chanting a chorus of sorrow. Each voice was a plea, lost and heavy, but familiar. Lisa, help us please. The shadows danced cruelly until a shimmer cut through the darkness, drawing her eyes to the faint glow of a distant light, flickering yet steady. It was not the blinding burst of before, but a gentle invitation, a promise. Could that light be her salvation? Or was it just another illusion crafted by the darkness? Stay close to the light, she whispered, unsure to whom she directed her words. The shadows pressed closer, and as they did, images began to form within their depths. Emily's name lingered on her lips, the desperation slicing through her. She couldn't lose her daughter again. Emily, I'll find you. With determination igniting a fire within, Lisa lunged toward the flickering glow. As she stumbled forward, the whispers grew frantic, a symphony of agony merging with the childlike laughter that echoed all too sweetly in her ears. A haunting melody of joy twisted into sorrow. Mommy, help me, Emily's voice called, wavering in the distance. The sound pulled at Lisa's heart, a thread woven from hope and despair, twisting tighter with every agonizing step. The shadows surged forward, tendrils reaching out. You will never escape, Lisa. You are one of us. Their breath was cold, like ice against her skin, as they swirled around her ankles, struggling to pull her back into their grasp. No, she cried out, drawing strength from within, fueled by love and fear. She closed her eyes, picturing Emily's smiling face, the strength radiating from the warmth of her embrace. In that instant, Lisa felt the warmth surge within her, a beacon fighting against the icy grasp of despair. She willed the light to respond, reaching out as if to grasp its luminescence with her own hands. You are not the one who defines me. She felt the surge of power once more, but it was different this time, more vibrant, tinged with righteousness. With a sudden burst, the glow enveloped her, igniting the darkness in a cacophony of shrieks. The many faces of children twisted and writhed in the shadows. Were they trapped like Emily? Were they warning her? The shadows hissed, separating in a frenzy, scattering against the intense light that radiated from Lisa. But even as it repelled the darkness, Lisa felt the shadows fight back with vengeance. They clung harder, a suffocating mass tightening around her throat, whispering doubts and fears that clawed at her sanity. You'll never find her, you'll never be free. A panic rose, heart pounding, breath catching, until she stumbled over something solid. The teddy bear, warm, still pulsing with the light of the love she had given it. With newfound resolve, she grasped it tightly, feeling its familiar fabric smooth and soft against her skin. They were counting on her. Emily, the children, she couldn't let them down. Together she murmured, clutching the bear as she focused on the light that now pulsed brighter, no longer merely reflective but alive. Light streamed from her, a radiant force that swept through the shadows, desperate to break free. Yet, amidst the glow, she sensed the ever-looming darkness lingering, waiting, ready to strike back. Helpless, the voices wailed in unison, and Lisa's heart sank. Was she truly fighting the darkness, or was she just becoming another shred of it? As the shadows recoiled once more, she steeled herself for the next fight. The light flickered, uncertain, wobbly, and she could feel the impending threat creeping closer. The whispers echoed in her mind, relentless, urging her to unravel the truth behind the darkness that threatened to consume them all. And then, all at once, the ground began to shake. What was coming? Lisa! The cries of twisted faces grew louder, breaking through the air like shattering glass. A figure emerged from the chaos, the creature, back for a second strike, its eyes glimmering with malevolence. This battle was far from over. How many lives were at stake? The light flickered uncertainly as Lisa prepared for the reckoning. What would it take to truly conquer the darkness? The creature loomed larger, shadows spilling down its elongated limbs like dark smoke. Lisa's breath hitched in her throat, fear tightening its grip. In that frozen moment, she could see its twisted grin, a mouth full of jagged teeth gleaming with malice. It called her name, though no sound escaped its lips. The mere whisper ghosted through the air, invasive and chilling. Lisa, she envisioned herself as a helpless fly caught in a web, dazed and confused. Yet she refused to be the prey. She raised the teddy bear, feeling its warmth radiate strength, empowering her against the encroaching dread. Emily! Lisa screamed, her voice cutting through the wall of noise. I'm coming. I won't leave you behind. The shadows recoiled, briefly halting, as if Lisa's defiance had struck a nerve. Then, with a furious rush, they surged back at her. They hissed like angry snakes, claws of darkness probing her reality, seeking her vulnerabilities. The chilling breath of the creature rasped against her ear, promising despair. You'll join them soon. Like a lightning bolt, clarity surged through her. A reckoning loomed, and she understood now. The light and the darkness were locked in a battle within her. The teddy bear felt heavier, its stuffing almost vibrating with the energy of those lost. It was more than a toy. It was a connection, a lifeline to Emily. With every ounce of courage, she focused on the light pouring from the bear. It crackled like electricity, piercing the shadows, illuminating the perverse faces looming just out of reach. Images of Emily, smiling and carefree, overwhelmed her senses. I have to find you, she shouted, words propelled by desperation and love. The creature lunged forward, black claws grasping for her throat, ready to drag her into the depths of despair. But Lisa lifted the bear higher, the light suddenly blazing brighter than before. An eruption of luminescence tore through the darkness, momentarily blinding her foes. They shrieked in fury, recoiling as if struck. Go away, she yelled, feeling the weight of the shadows pressing against her mind. You don't own me. You can't have her. The blinding light twisted around her like a shield, pushing back the creature's grasp, suffocating it momentarily in brilliance. It howled, a grating wail that echoed against the void, vibrating through the earth and through Lisa's bones. She held her ground, steeling herself as she felt the tug of the darkness. Help us, she has to help us. The cries grew frantic, voices merging into a dissonant chorus of sorrow and need. Each word struck a nerve, wavering with Emily's name, demanding her undivided attention. An image erupted in her mind, the face of a child, one she didn't recognize but knew deep down was suffering. Panic gripped her heart. Who were these children? What had happened to them? Were they too trapped like Emily, unable to escape the shadows? With rage fueling her resolve, she pushed forward, past the glowing light that mirrored her heart, burning brighter still. She felt it surge, a force wrapped in love and fury. "I will fight for you all," she cried, fury igniting her spirit, pushing her toward the darkness with renewed determination. The shadows writhed, spiraling in every direction, thrashing violently against the radiant pulse radiating from Lisa. She was no longer just fighting for Emily. She was becoming their warrior. But as she pressed on, the creature snarled ferociously, its malevolent eyes narrowing, dripping with intent. "More will join us, you know, more lost souls than you can save." As the ground trembled beneath her feet once more, she felt the world spinning, fading, shifting, and darkening. A sickening feeling threatened to swallow her whole. Footsteps echoed behind her, just beyond the glimmering horizon of the light, heartbeats pulsing like war drums. The flickering glow dimmed, and with it, a terrifying reality began to solidify. What truth lurked behind the shadows? How deep did the darkness go? Lisa's grip on the bear tightened as the whispers rose again. An urgent timber. "Help us find us." The ground cracked, revealing a void below. What lay beneath? Would she dare to step into the unknown, risking everything for a truth that could devour her spirit? She had to find out. Lisa stood, heart racing and mind spinning, as the shadows clung like a second skin. The whispers pierced the thick fog of her thoughts, beckoning her into their depths. "Help us. Find us." Just behind that call was her daughter's voice, ringing clear yet distant, tangled in the cacophony of the lost. The flickering light around her waned, a desperate plea for salvation shimmering in the air. "Emily!" Lisa shouted, her voice breaking through the noise like a jagged knife. "I'm coming." The ground beneath her trembled wildly, fissures cracking open, threatening to swallow her whole. The darkness swirled, desperate to draw her in. But she couldn't let it. Not now. Not ever again. She remembered Emily's laughter, the warmth of her small frame against her own, and the texture of the teddy bear, now glowing softly in her grip. It was a tether, a connection to all that was good. Confusion warred with fear, pulling at her resolve like unseen hands. Just beyond the reach of the light lay a darkness she feared to explore. The whispers grew louder, more insistent. The children's faces, twisted with sorrow, flitted like phantoms in her memory. "We're just like her." Their voices came softly, begging for mercy, reaching into her heart to tug at the threads of compassion. "No," she whispered, feeling a cold terror coil around her heart. But what choice did she have? Darkness clamped down on her thoughts, filling her lungs with dread. The creature's shadow slithered closer, voice oozing with mockery. "You've come to own the truth of this place, haven't you? Wanting to grasp at light despite understanding its cost." Lisa's heart clenched. "I don't care about the cost. I just want to find my daughter." The darkness laughed, a harsh sound that echoed through the clearing, cruel against the desperate soft glow of hope. "Ah, Lisa, that's where you'll make your mistake. Every soul lost in these woods paid a price. Do you truly want to join them?" Cold fingers of despair gripped her shoulders. Her resolve wavered, but then she thought of Emily's soft laugh, her innocent dreams, and the warmth of their shared moments. "Yes, I will do anything for her." With determination renewed, Lisa raised the bear high, its light pulsing vibrantly, forcing back the shadows, pushing them to their knees as if they were mere fodder in the wake of her furious love. The creature screeched, a deep animalistic howl echoing through the biting cold. "No!" It roared, eyes wide and furious, tearing at her with unseen claws. "You think that shine will drive me away? You are merely igniting the shadows within you." The shadows shrieked, surging forward to reclaim their grip. Lisa felt the pressure build against her chest, the darkness pushing harder, seeking to crush her spirit. For a moment, doubt crept in, a cold hand slipping under her skin. What if there was no hope? What if this was the end? But then, like a flash, she thought of Emily, and the remembrance of their smiles broke through the cloud of doubt. "I will not fear you," she yelled, channeling every ounce of herself into the bear. The light ignited, shining brighter than ever, pouring forth through her spirit and merging with the teddy bear-esque glow. It was a beacon, a lighthouse leading lost souls back home. Gradually, the darkness began to evaporate, shrieking into tendrils of smoke, retreating from the light. "Help us! Save us!" The voices collided, piercing through the air with urgency. Lisa felt the children's anguish, each cry merging seamlessly with her own desperation. "Stay in the light!" Lisa shouted. A battle cry birthed from inky shadows battling against desperate hope. Suddenly, the light enveloped the clearing, bursting free from their entwined fears. She felt the fire bloom within her, radiating warmth, igniting courage where there had only been despair. The shadows flickered, their forms wavering as she pressed deeper into the fight. Her perspective shifted as she could see the twisted forms of the children gazing back, each one a reflection of fear, yet cloaked in a shimmer of hope, yearning for redemption. Together, Lisa shouted, drawing them toward her own illumination. "You don't have to be trapped. We can find Emily." In that moment, the children surged forward, whispers merging into a crescendo, an anthem that broke through the oppressive veil of darkness. Lisa's heart swelled with furious strength as they gathered around her, the shadows quaking in terror. "Help us," it whispered, and Lisa felt her heart breaking for their plight. "Do you truly think you can help us?" "Yes," she cried, the warmth of her light illuminating every face, every lost soul surrounding her. She envisioned them in a world free of shadows, running through sun-drenched fields, laughing joyfully in a carousel of innocence. The creature roared angrily, shadows crashing against the light like waves against rocks. "You can't escape." But she pressed on, light blazing and weaving around her, cascading against the encroaching darkness. "Emily!" Her voice rang out, no longer just a name, but a battle cry, a promise. And then, there she was, a flicker of white intertwined with the light, a silhouette of innocence amidst the chaos. "Mom!" Emily's voice rang out, bright and clear. Within her heart, a flicker of recognition ignited. As they locked eyes, Lisa could feel the power of love radiating between them, binding them until the shadows recoiled in fear. "Let her go!" Lisa screamed, fury erupting as she pushed forward, every ounce of her energy igniting the world. The light exploded, engulfing everything in a dazzling burst, rending the fabric of shadow from the expanse of her realm. As the darkness faded, dissipating like fog under sunlight, Lisa fell to the ground trembling, breathless, holding her precious bear tightly against her chest. A soft warmth enveloped her arms as she clutched Emily's little frame against her. "Mom! You came. I'll always come, Em," she gasped, tears flowing freely, joy and relief washing over her like fresh rain after a storm. In that moment, darkness became just a whisper in the past, a ghost they both vowed to dismiss. The children, once twisted by shadow, began to shimmer brightly, faces softening as they embraced their newfound freedom. Together, they would find a way home as the sun broke through the trees, painting the world with warmth. Lisa embraced Emily tighter, vowing never to let go. They had battled darkness and emerged victorious. Together, they stepped into the shimmering light, leaving the horrors behind as they sought hope anew. This was their moment, a life beyond the shadows, a journey forever entwined. Make sure to subscribe immediately so you don't miss out on more exclusive stories like this one. Smash that like button now to help with the algorithm, and flood the comments with your reactions and theories about this emotional ending. And don't you dare wait another second, share this video with at least 5 friends who need to experience this thrilling conclusion. True fans know how vital your support is.